Okay, we are back again with the Ace Podcast, trying to bring you all the best of the trainers, players, coaches, anything and everything that you can ask for and information and trying to become the best person, player, coach, mentor that you can be. And today, my guest is the legendary, yes, I said the legendary Coach Greg Garrett. How you doing today? Coach, hold on one second. All right, so I was about to kind of come in and say the title, your business company name, etc. But when I was about to say it, I think the whole idea of naming and branding is super duper important. And everybody listening to this would hear the name in the beginning, and I just wanted to stop and take a step back. Level 40 Training. Where did that name come from?
Wow, crazy. I used to play football, so I played arena football, minor league football, and little semi-pro football. And my jersey number was 40. So on the off season when I worked out, it was, I went extreme. I went I couldn't even walk when I was done. I was always doing crazy sets and just pushing myself beyond, my limits. So as I got older and I started training, other high school kids and all that, it was, if you could train on my level and do what I do far as, the commitment and your discipline, there's no reason, whatever level you on, there's no reason for you to take that next step. So just the two came together and it's been that ever since.
That's dope. Now, I've known you since like 2008 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so when was the official start of the company?
The official start, well, when I did all the paperwork and all of that kind of stuff was like 2006 or something like that.
Okay.
And I moved into the gym 2010, and we've been here ever since. 2012, 11 or 12, 2012, something like that.
That's awesome. I remember the beginning of it. I remember you talking about trying to bring all these guys that you had been working with together, knowing that the city has uber talent and they needed something like what you do. And, I think we met at like the Nike Spark Combine. That was like 2008 or something like that. And I was training quarterbacks. I started off with Philly Football Movement, which was my nonprofit, helping guys in the city. And then, perfectly enough, we ran into each other. And I immediately gravitated to you. And the reason why, and a lot of people do, right? But the reason why was you were straightforward. You were like, this guy needs to do this guy needs to do that. And at first I'm like, who's this dude that think he knows everything? But here we are today, and I think it was with good reason that we gravitated to each other. So when I first met you, everyone has an idea, but what kind of sparked the idea to provide this type of training for the athletes in the area?
It was just I don't know how to say it without saying it, but doing it the correct way. Understanding what it is to get to the next level, understanding what these guys have to do to get to the next level. And there's no shortcuts. A lot of times for me, I kind of like make my guys accountable for their career. You are a businessman, you are a business. So this is what we have to do is non-negotiable. So that I seen that lack where it was, okay, touch your toes, count to 10 and we done. That might've been cool for like high school, but to get to that next level on that D1 level, what every high school ball player reach for, but to get to that D1 level and then go to the pros, it's a different mindset. It's a different workout. It's a different regimen that you got to put together. And I'm talking from start to finish. So once I got understood that, now it's my job to put them in position where if they fail, it's because of them.
So you say if they fail, it's because of them. I think, again, one of the things that stood out, we were able to work together and collaborate when I first started doing my training. Yeah. And I just kind of stood back and I listened to all of the words that you said. And you obviously, every trainer has to have a methodology. And for me, I took away that you were really challenging the young men to not accept being average. And I mean, in as many words as few words as possible saying that, but listening to the different ways that you were able to communicate that. So is there is there something that sparked that mentality in what you do?
It's exactly what you said. Not being okay with just okay. A lot of guys are okay with just, well, I worked out today, so I'm cool for tomorrow. But then at the end of the day, they're looking for the good results of getting to that D1 program or getting to that NFL. Even my NFL guys, I do the same thing. There's no difference. Like, okay, you made it to the NFL, now what? And they looking at me, what you mean? Now what? Okay, it's good to get to the NFL. Now we got to protect it and stay in the NFL. To protect and stay in the NFL, we want to potentially be a Pro Bowler or a Super Bowl champion or something. Like, we always have to set goals. And like I said, you just can't be okay with being okay, because that's the norm. That's a lot of people want to say, I've done it.
I made it. That's the thing, right?
Yeah, I made it, and they're good with that. And I've seen that over and over and over again. And it was like, these guys are not being pushed. These guys, worst thing I could say is, I tell a guy, the worst thing you can do is set a small goal and hit. Meaning, I just want to go to college. And college, and there's nothing after that.
So with that being said, what do you, now everybody's not going to make it to the NFL.
No.
Everybody's not going to make it to the NBA. And I think sometimes the misconception is that, we only train those guys, but that's not true. I know a lot of guys that you've worked with, and they're separating. They're separated when they are level 40 guys, they're separated. And the biggest thing that I've noticed was the mentality. So I think all the things you're saying, you live by that. And so if you were to, let's take a step back. You talked about, you don't want your guys to feel like, I made it. Like, that's not the key.
Yeah.
You work with some pretty significant guys who could easily say they made it. Especially for our Eagles fans that are going to be listening. Talk a little bit about some of the guys that you work with that played for the Philadelphia Eagles and other pros that have come through the gym.
Well,
I know it's a lot. So in a time constraint, give us a couple guys.
So far as the Philadelphia Eagles, we have, of course, Brandon Graham, a perfect gentleman, if you ask me. Then we have Miles Sanders, is pretty much following the same footsteps. Then you have Darius Slay. God, so many of them guys over there. I got to look at my board real quick.
No, I hear that.
Then I have my first original football player that I built from the ground up, which is Sharif Floyd, first round draft pick for Minnesota. Then another one that I built up from ground up will be Will Fuller, which is now playing for Miami.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we have my last one, which is Kyle Pitts, which is now, first. All three of them was first round draft picks, but he's been the highest of the tight end situation as far as
ever. Don't be humble, coach.
Yeah,
I know you know how to speak it up. Speak it up, right?
Yeah. He's fourth pick overall. So that was a blessing in itself. So we got NBA, we got the Morris twins, we got Deion Waiter, we got Cam Reddish, which is here now training. He's from Philadelphia. Then we have Lamar Stevens, that's just signed up with Cleveland. So he has a 3-year deal. He's there. We got BJ Johnson, which is I think he graduated from LaSalle. Now he's playing in the NBA. So the list goes on. We got Danny Garcia. That's a
right.
The list goes on and on and on. We got Tasha McLeod, the WNBA 2019 champion. We got Kyle Lowry, 2019 NBA champion. So the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So I'm just blessed.
Well, I think it's more than blessed, man. You're obviously talented. But the big question is, at some point you had to be like, you know what, I can do this. I can provide at a high level, a super high level, what these guys need. And was there like a specific moment or a specific player that you were working with where it just came to you like, I can do this? The light bulb came on.
It was more like, okay, every level that you get to, every level that you get to, you got to take your training with you. And you got to, my team here, they tell you, I preach nothing but studying. Study.
Master the craft. That's it.
Yes. They always say you got to at least put 10,000 hours in to be considered great. Well, you're looking at me, I'm past 10,000 hours, and it just go. And we have to be on top of every single type of, training is out there. As well as I know, every 3 to 6 months, this thing is changing.
Yes.
And in order for me to provide my guys with what they need, I got to stay on top of things. So we never get too relaxed. And I'm to the point where I don't have that level of different far as training. Like, there is no high school style training. There is no college style training. It's just strictly pro style training. So if you're in high school and you play, let's just say, a running back, you're going to get the same thing as Philadelphia Eagles, Miles Sanders.
Train like the pros, right? Isn't that your slogan?
Yeah, that's definitely is. We're what else you say? Level 40, where the pros train.
Where the pros train. There we go. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. I think Will was like the first person that we kind of trained, that it kind of crossed over. I was doing the skill stuff, and you were doing the strength and conditioning. And it showed. You saw, if anybody knows, if they watched Notre Dame, if they watched him in high school, he was super explosive. And he was able to do things that he didn't even know he could do. And we remember the beginning of, he didn't know how fast he was. He didn't know how strong he was. And he just continued to, and they're doing a good job now in the NFL, building on that, which is really good. Now that takes me to another guy that we've been able to, I've had the pleasure to know that he's working with you. Kyle Pitts, man. I always tease him. I'm like, I remember when you said, Coach Abe, what can I do to be the best? And he got with you. I mean, he was able to do things at Florida that was like literally unbelievable. I couldn't even believe it. And I know him personally, and there was just things that were amazing. Tell us a little bit about the experience with the draft and getting him ready for that.
Wow. Well, we went down California for 3 months, getting ready for, his big day, to let the world see what he's really about. We kind of did things a little bit different than what your typical company would do for combine training, where I'm on the science side of things now. So it's kind of weird, because some of the guys that started with me, they say, "Oh, gee, you getting soft now." No, I'm not getting soft. I understand
you're evolving, right?
Exactly.
As a trainer, you got to evolve. Go ahead.
So I kind of like understood the body, what was going on, and how to do things. So where we getting ready for the 225, how many times we can do that, where some trainers are load up all this weight on there. Well, we stayed at 225, but we did dumbbells versus trying to do it the conventional way of throwing all this weight on and trying to rep it as many as times. So I already know he can lift 225. That wasn't my concern. It's how many times can he lift it before he start hitting these certain breaks.
Right.
So started training for the conditioning side of the 225, and how long can his muscles hold that type of speed and rhythm before they start hitting plateau 1, plateau 2, and then trying to struggle for the third plateau, the third level of that. So, we did a lot of dumbbells. The reason why we did dumbbells, because on the bar, your dominant arm can take over the show, and the weak arm is just pretty much a kickstand to keep the bar from falling on the ground.
Okay.
But up that weak side. So if you figure with just your dominant side, you can rip out 8 at 225. But if you wake up that non-dominant side, that 8 will quickly turn to 12.
That's amazing. I mean, when you become great at what you do, you really start to break it down like you're doing. Yeah. I mean, to be able to understand what the body's doing when you're performing at this high level is super duper important. Now, I know the strength part is absolutely phenomenal. Your guys all get stronger, faster, more explosive. But what a lot of strength guys, the old school, we lift heavy. I started to notice, and if anyone wants to go to your IG, they can see you do a lot of flexibility stuff. What made you incorporate the flexibility into your workouts?
Just really understanding the body. Again, like I said, I'm like you said, I'm evolving. So I understand that we can put all this bulk and all this weight on top of you, but now we sort of like restrict your movement. So now if I put a 7 pounds on you, can your hips be flexible to move that weight? So what we start to find is Monday and Tuesday, we kind of beat them up pretty bad. And then before, we want to beat them up on Wednesday, then beat them up on Thursday. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they got a chance to rest and then come back on Monday and do that too. You start to see that the guys get mentally fatigued as well as physical. So now there's no movement with all of that. So now we put around where we go on Monday, we do this, Tuesday, we doing this. Wednesday is strictly mobility. So now when we put all these muscles on them, they still can go out there and perform. So that stretching component and that mobility component is where they get to put on the 5 pounds and still zigzag, cut, slam on brakes, change
Absolutely.
because their muscles and their motor patterns are still being active while they put the pounds on there. So that's
super duper important. Super duper important.
Honestly, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think it speaks volumes that you, again, as a strength coach, are willing and able to make sure that the guys are getting the total package. You have the flexibility, mobility. You also have recovery, people that come in to help with recovery also. And just for the athletes, how important is it if you can just drop a couple of jewels on recovery and making sure they do the right things for their bodies?
That's what I was going to touch on. The mobility and the recovery aspect is the most important part that we have going on here. You can go anywhere and lift weights. That's okay, whatever. You could sit down and do a whole gang of push-ups and get something out of that. But that recovery time. So this is what I explain to my guys. I say, all right, we're gonna take the muscle and we use the metaphor of the rubber band and we stretch the rubber band, stretch. So I'm telling them every time I stretch this rubber band, you guys are working out. I said, no, look at the rubber band. It's still stretching. We got a tan rubber band or any color rubber band for that matter. It starts to turn white. Stretch it. Okay, we really working. And then the next day we stretching the muscle. Now that white begin to get little tiny tears inside of it. Now here comes the smart person. This is why trainers are created to keep athletes from hurting themselves. So when I start to get them tiny tears, that's good. Now I have to shut it off and bring it back to rest. Let the tiny tears heal, and now the guy is much stronger and much faster. But if we keep pulling them tiny tears, and then it popped, and now we know good.
That's awesome. I mean, that visual is super important. And once the guys understand, like, yeah, you can lift, but if you don't stretch, a lot of guys, especially the young guys, they don't understand, like, oh, if I go out and have a hard workout, I got to come back. Or at that time afterwards, I have to sit down, let my body kind of relax and stretch out. So that's super important, and that's awesome that you take care of your guys like that, man. And it's really showing. Now, if you could kind of take a step back, right? You started training. I want to particularly talk about football, right? So what's the difference in football training and training that you do for everybody else, or is there a difference?
Well,
you don't have to drop all your secrets and stuff that, but
well, I'm blessed. For me, I'm only able, well, not able, but I only train athletes. Now my staff, I got 3 other trainers. They do the fitness side. Everybody know Devin. He's the manager and he's the head trainer. And he does the fitness side. We have another trainer named Adon. He does the fitness training. We have He's a movement specialist. So we got like a whole kind of like staff, and the difference in between the fitness and the athletic training, where the fitness, their goals are different from an athletic trainer, where they're looking to lose weight and plump certain things up. And where athletic wise, I really don't care about none of that. All I'm focusing on is the muscles that you move to perform on a football field. Those are the muscles I need to attack. So we kind of like get rid of that. I got to turn the switch on. That thought process. I want the switch on before we even get on the grass. It just, we hit the ground, go, and we run it. So where they're going working for calories and looking for pounds and all of that kind of stuff, unless I get a report from a pro team that he has to report at a certain weight, other than that, I'm just focusing on the movements that they're making and working those muscles and those tendons and that fast twitch and that eye hand coordination, those type of things. So when they put their hand down in the dirt or whatever movements they make, those muscles are active.
Right. That I mean, it's beautiful. It's a science, and you clearly have it down. You've mastered that. Now my next question is, being around these athletes that are making it to the highest level, just in short memory, right? Mark Webb, you said Kyle Pitts, were in their pro days, or excuse me, in draft preparation. What do you see, and what can you help younger athletes really? Because we know Kyle and Mark was already like a physical specimen, but Kyle in particular wasn't necessarily, built like that. What kind of advice can you give the younger athletes that are coming up and to help them to reach that level? You've seen the top dogs. So what did you see that kind of helped them become top dog?
Their will to just want to do, and understanding it's a process. It's not going to happen tomorrow. Like, Kyle been training with me since he was 13. So Kyle and the family and everybody knew this wasn't going to happen when he turned 14. It wasn't going to happen when he turned 15. It was going to happen when he turned 16. 17 is when we start to see, okay, here it comes. So it's a process of building athletes. Yeah, I can get you super, super strong, and then what?
Right.
And but to build a complete athlete, where you're talking about being able to move his feet, being able to start, stop, change of direction, being able to be strong, and a lot of trainers don't understand. Your athlete will peak as far as his strength, and then what do we do? So now for us, after I get you strong, now it becomes, how fast can we move the weight? That's
right.
So when you lock out and put your hand, you're an O-line, D lineman, you put your hands on that guy, how fast can you get him off you and move that weight? So if we talking NFL, we talking a lineman, O-lineman is anywhere from 300 to 305. And you got this D tackle that's 296. How fast can this D tackle put his hands on him and get him off? Move that 300 pounds. So it's a method of training that way. So like I said, once he get his strength, you'll see he'll tap off. He'll cap off at, I don't know, let's just say 275. He'll cap off at 275. He's strong. Now, how fast can he move 200?
Right.
How fast can he move 275 pounds? That's what you're looking for when you doing football players and things of that nature like that.
So one of the things that is super, a lot of people ask it, at what age are guys able to start working out? At what age should they be working out? Should they be, putting weight on the bar and things like that?
All right. So we get this all the time. One, weights do not stunt your growth. So let's just get that myth out of there.
Now I'm gonna be honest. I thought it had something to do with the growth plates or something like that. But you would know better than me.
In order for me to stop your growth, I would have to cut you open, go inside that growth plate, and snatch that out of you.
That makes sense.
That's not going. If your parents are 7,000 feet tall, you have no choice but to be. The only way it would happen if it skipped a generation and it went to the grandmom or
genetics, right?
Next, you can't change it. It is what it is. If they're 6, let's just say the dad is 6'6", that son is going to reach that height, especially if the mom is 5'9". So if the 5'9" is tall for a woman, so if the mom is 5'9" and the dad is 6'4", 6'5", that child got no choice but to hit the 6'6", 6'7" mark. So no matter if he lift weights or not, he's still going to grow like that.
So is it true that you should do more body weight stuff though by a certain age, or because you wouldn't want like a 6-year-old going in and putting up 225? Obviously not. I'm just saying
that's what
lifting the bar.
People get a little confused with. If he's 6, he's going to lift a 6-year-old weight. That's where they get in the concept of, oh God, he's going to be left, like you said, he's going to be lifting
like 225.
Possible to lift, at 6, lifting 225 pounds. At best, he's going to be on 10-pound dumbbells, 5-pound dumbbells, stuff like that, doing, squats with both of the dumbbells, things of that nature. It doesn't stunt your growth. And the other one is weights make you slow. It's virtually impossible for weights to make you slow. One fact is because in order to be fast, you got to put the power down in the ground. So imagine this. The force that I get from squatting 225 pounds, in order for my body to naturally do that, to put that type of power in the ground, I would have to break both my hips in order. And before that happened, I'll pass out because my body will go in automatic defense mode and shut me down.
Right.
So you need weights. All right. Here's another example. If weights were so bad and they made you slow and they made you stiff and all those type of things, and you got tons of athletes just like I do that's on a high school level, when your guys sign their letter in intent, within a week or 2 weeks, the first book they get is a weight room. It's not the curriculum. It's not how many classes you're going to get.
Right.
It's not a playbook. It is a weight room book, and it shows you the typical 3 sets of this, 3 sets of this, and go all the way down the list. So if it was that bad and it made you that slow, why do they send you this workout book?
Right. Not only that, especially for football players, it protects your body.
Yes.
So the biggest thing for me is I think about how neglected neck muscles and back muscles and the interior front is because of the concussions and guys hitting their heads, on the ground. A lot of concussions happen from hitting the ground. So that's super duper important to protect the guys health wise.
Yeah. So, technically we was never supposed to do any of these sports. God created us just to walk around the earth. But once we started jumping, forget jumping, once we started landing, people realize they don't know how to land and absorb the blunt of the ground, that they start tearing up certain things in their body over a period of time. We started jumping, running into each other. We can't do these type of sports without putting muscles around the tendons. And when we don't do that, here come the injuries. So weight room is here's the deal. When you go to college or any pro team, this is how it's listed. It's the head coach, then the strength coach, and then everybody else falls down behind that. Your strength coach typically dictates what your team is about. So if you got a soft strength coach, then you're not going to know how to pull that out. But
it's a super duper important position, and a lot of people underestimate it. But every place that I've been, their strength coach, if they're paid a good penny, they're probably obviously seen as a very important piece to the team's success. And keeping guys healthy, that's success, so very important piece there. No doubt you're one of the forefathers of training, strength and conditioning, development, mentoring. You helped me out a ton. I appreciate all the advice and conversations and things like that. But I just wanted to ask you one last thing. All right. So you have the most, and we talked about mentality before. Okay. So what has been the most difficult thing for you creating or building Level 40?
Wow. Most difficult in the beginning or
at any point. Well, especially for this conversation, for this interview, I want guys that are going to be listening. You're going to have guys that want to be trainers that are listening to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to have athletes that are listening to it, obviously. So everybody runs into that hurdle that like kicks their butt and has them like, you know what? I'm going to have to tap out.
Yeah.
So for you, I know it had to be a point, you know, your successful business, everybody talks about overnight success. It wasn't, right?
No,
So what things, even if it's just one thing, we know it's multiple things. What was one thing that like hit you and you were like, oh man, I don't know if I should get up?
Believing.
Mm.
Believing and proving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, believing in my dream, believing in what I'm trying to put together, and proving something. Like I caught myself trying to prove to
Mm.
Philadelphia I was a good trainer, not even a
Mm-hmm.
good, the best trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to prove to them this is where everybody need to be. And you know, and I got to that point where I let my work speak for itself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Very.
putting much attention into trying to prove that I'm good instead of just let good prove in
Just
itself.
just
Just
going. Yep.
go. And once I let that go, I was able to focus on more of my dream, my passion, and the vision that I had for it, and just, you know, learn more and more about the training over and over and over. You know, to the point where I'm able to look at a video
Mm-hmm.
or look at a nut, because I look at everybody. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
always I look at every trainer in Philadelphia.
Right, right, right.
You got a social media, I'm on it. You better block me because I'm looking.
Mm-hmm. Across the nation. I mean, you
Yeah,
have to. You have to.
the top dogs. I look at well, you know, I look at everybody. I look at Pete Bomarito. I look at Exos. I look at Tony Villani. I look at Athletic Gains. I look at Proactive. I look at everybody. There's nobody that I really don't look at. I learn from you know, one of the top guys out there, Kyle Dietz. I look at all these different trainers, and I learn from, you know, good trainers. I learn from bad trainers. They teach me what not to do. Even with the bad training, help me recognize what's good and what's not bad. You know, what's
Right.
good. So where I look at enough bad training and I see how they're squatting and doing deadlifts and those things, that when I see it in my gym, boom,
You
I can,
like stop it.
oh, whoa, wait a minute.
Right.
You
So
know,
now, so that was the belief in yourself, that self-confidence and focus, man. You got to focus because there's always gonna be a lot of noise.
yeah.
And you were able to go through it, fight through it. Obviously, that's like the epitome of what you do.
Yeah.
Now, on the lighter side, what is the most rewarding thing that you've done so far
All right.
or seen?
Yeah. It's going to shock y'all. Well, one of them definitely is going to shock you. Well, I'm just going to put it out there. The most rewarding was, of course, Kyle Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you why. And it's not because uh, of what he did on the football field. It was
Mm-hmm.
because of where they put me. And for so long I've been screaming that I'm good, and now I had a chance for the world to see it, to compete with all these other top trainers that was out there. And you know, even for my own city, because you know, I heard the talks, oh, he shouldn't do that, he shouldn't do this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
laughing. But to be able to go out there in another person home and perform at a high level and have conversations with these so-called quote unquote top trainers, and you know, just go back and forth, and it's almost like validation. Oh, yeah, I'm there. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So now they have us listed with the Exos,
Mm.
Tony Villani's, and all those guys. So when you mention those guys, you have to mention level 40 now, because I just went on national television on the highest stage, and you've seen the work.
That's beautiful.
That's like the biggest reward for me right now. Well, that's like number two. Number one is actually it's kind of weird. Well, not weird, but it's gonna shock you. The number one reward, and this is for real, is seeing my guys, my other trainers, be able to provide for their family.
Mm.
So
Awesome. As a businessman, that 100%,
yeah, so
110%.
watching my guys buy cars, watching my guys uh, be their own boss, you know. So in here, I'm not the boss in my
Right.
gym. You know, we all have our own niche, and we all governs ourselves, and we all put into. So you're not going to catch me buying a resistant band or a med ball. That's not my job.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to catch me doing that, because if I got to do that, I'm gonna go crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get it.
I'm gonna take care of the big things. I'm gonna get the new turf, or I'm gonna get the whatever piece of equipment we have. This is our company. You guys are your own. Let me show you how to be a boss. Look, this is what you need to do. You need to go here. I bumped my head enough times to say, don't go that way,
Right.
this way. And now I watch them, my head trained to death. I'm watching him. He didn't bought 2 cars. One car got in an accident. He was able to purchase another one. I watch him provide for his daughter. Hey, G, I got to go take my daughter to XYZ.
And
That stuff.
that's so rewarding.
Yeah.
Because that in itself is a reflection of the blood, sweat, and tears that trainers put into their craft, the real ones that they put into their craft, that they bless so many people, and to personally be able to help people to provide for their families.
Yes.
I get it 110%, man.
The fact that I was able to go to California for 3 months and level 40 still run as if I was here, so that kind of stuff is kind of weird. Like, people would think, oh, you put this guy here, you did this, you did that. No, that right there, because I'll come in sometimes before everybody, don't even turn the lights on, just stand there real quiet. And damn, this is like maybe the last 2 or 3 years, I'm really enjoying level 40. So if that makes sense, like
that's excellent, man. And I know how hard you work. I know, again, from the conversations that we've had, the visions that you had, they were never too big because I understood them, right? And now they're starting to come together. I mean, we had a text conversation and you saw something that we posted a while ago and you were like answering that, but that was things that have legit ended up happening. I mean, again, congratulations. Greg, thank you for your time. I know you're always busy and whether it's yourself or helping other people, but thank you for your time. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Greg Garrett, level 40, King of Prussia. What's your tags and your IGs and all that good stuff?
So the address is 320 South Henderson Road, King of Prussia, PA 19406. And we got a couple of them on Instagram. So it'd be confusing me. There's Level 40 Performance, LEVEL 40 on Instagram, and then there's Level 40 Fitness, and then I think is Level 40 Massage. I don't know, man. Them the right there. I gotta learn.
That's why you the GOAT, man. You the GOAT.
I gotta learn the massage one. So we got the Level 40 Recovery Center. I think that's what it is, something like that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying myself, man. Man, listen, I'm honored and thank you for reaching out to me. I told you, man, you're a good guy. I have nothing but respect for what you got going on. And I told you I was going to do something like this, but I ain't doing it now.
I covered it all for you. But look, man, if you end up having one, make sure you have me on there. I'll reciprocate the love.
All right, always open. You're more than welcome to come up here and do whatever you need to do.
My guy, I appreciate you. Greg Garrett, level 40, Ace Podcast. Make sure you guys check it out on YouTube. If you like what you heard, if you heard something that's going to help you or help somebody that you are working with, make sure you like the buttons and give us a review. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Greg. And that's it.
Cool.
My man. Yeah. All right.